You might be sleeping next to an emotional traitor and not even realize it. She's beside you, says goodnight, climbs into your bed, shares meals with you, yet no longer shares her soul. Her attention, her passion, her desire, they belong elsewhere, and you still convince yourself it's just a phase, that she's confused. No, she's not confused. She's making a choice but isn't ready to admit it. A woman rarely tells a man outright that she no longer desires him. Instead, she leaves subtle signs, small phrases that seem harmless. If you can't interpret them, they quietly destroy you inside. Today, I'll expose these phrases, the ones women use when their hearts are already elsewhere, when they are leaving but want you to uncover it. That way, they can rationalize their next moves. I'm not relying on sentimentality, but on real female psychology. Years of listening to women reveal what their partners never noticed, and the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. When a man learns to discern a woman of value from one who is emotionally unfaithful, she can't manipulate him anymore. I'll show you 7 dangerous phrases that signal she no longer chooses you, even if she still lives with you. Recognizing them stops you from being the last to know, the man whose house, soul, and bed are fading without reason. I'm not here to comfort you, I'm here to shake you awake. If you don't wake up, you'll remain the loyal man betrayed quietly. Listen closely, because after this, it's either control or surrender. Has a woman ever said, "I feel disconnected, but I don't know why"? Instead of raising alarms, you probably lowered your head, blaming yourself, thinking you had failed and needed to try harder. That phrase isn't a request for attention. It's the start of abandonment, a process that began long ago, but you refuse to see it. When a woman says she feels disconnected, it's because her gaze has shifted to another man. Your touch no longer excites her, your words no longer move her, and she doesn't anticipate your messages because her desire has already shifted. Her body may still touch you, but her soul is elsewhere. The darkest part? She knows exactly what she's disconnected from, your energy, your presence, your essence, but can't admit it. So she masks it in gentle words, as if on a spiritual journey, while actually moving closer to someone else. Real female psychology manipulates with softness. A smart woman doesn't break up suddenly. She leaves slowly, draining your emotional energy while seeming present. If you're not strong, you'll beg for attention without knowing you're competing with an invisible rival. This isn't drama, it's the code of the female mind. I feel disconnected is not a starting point, it's the end. Taking it as an opportunity to win her back ensures you lose faster than you think, because she no longer sees you as a man, only as someone present in routine. If she says this, don't ask what's wrong. You already know. Don't try to reconnect. She doesn't want to return. She wants to leave while keeping you as emotional support, while her mind is already captivated elsewhere. Without boundaries, you'll become the man she left in slow motion, the one who mistakes farewell for a phase. She's not confused. She's desiring someone else. Without reaction, without standing in self-respect and clarity, you'll be the last to know you're no longer in her story, only in her routine. At that point, desire is gone, leaving only pity. If she says, "I feel disconnected," pay attention. If she adds, "I need time for myself," it's time to act, not understand. That line is not innocent. It's a cover disguised as reflection. The man who believes it is already losing. "I need time for myself" has one real meaning. I want freedom to explore other men without explanation. Harsh but true. A woman asking for space isn't meditating in the forest or reconnecting internally. She's testing another man, feeling the thrill of someone new. If you comply, saying you understand, waiting endlessly, you become the obedient fool while she experiments with freedom. That's not love. It's a betrayal of self. Stoicism emphasizes self control and seeing reality clearly, not indulging desire. A strong man hearing this doesn't argue, beg, or degrade himself. He calmly says, "Take your time, but don't come back because I won't be second choice." Strength and self-love are needed for that stance, and many men lack it. Years of routine, indifference, and small betrayals leave men clinging to crumbs of attention. If you accept her request for time, you justify deceit. She doesn't need self-reflection. She's testing the new life she desires. Emotional promiscuity is the name of the game. When a woman asks for time, you don't lose her, you save yourself. Giving her space without boundaries signals you're not worth clarity. Stand firm. Don't wait, explain, or beg. The man who yields loses respect, and without respect, desire fades. Women often withdraw emotionally without withdrawing physically. Hugs, smiles, even intimacy may continue, but desire is gone. Desire doesn't shout, it just justifies. The next phrase is a classic deception. Not everything has to be physical. Think about it. She never said that when she looked at you with longing, kissed you spontaneously, or undressed freely. This phrase appears only when the spark has left. Physical connection is no longer spontaneous. It must be rationalized. A woman who still desires doesn't justify touch. She seeks it. If she explains now, she no longer feels the same. The worst part? That phrase makes you doubt yourself, questioning what's real. It makes you feel like you're the one asking for too much, that maybe you're insensitive, shallow, or superficial. But in truth, you're not asking for anything more than what used to come naturally. What's really happening is that she doesn't want it with you anymore, but she won't tell you directly, because if she did, she'd have to admit that her attention is already drifting elsewhere, that she's imagining someone else, that if she isn't giving herself to you, it's because she's already giving herself mentally or physically to another. This is one of the hardest moments for a man, because it's not just rejection, it's emotional deception. She refuses contact but acts as if everything is fine, as if the connection beyond the physical is what matters. But you're not her therapist, you're not her emotional confidant, you're her man, and if she stops giving herself physically, you're no longer that. You become a companion, a provider, a caretaker, everything but the man she desires. This is where you need to apply Stoic wisdom brutally to see the difference between what seems to be and what actually is, between an excuse and the truth. Accepting her words blindly makes you complicit in your own emotional defeat. You turn into a man who tolerates living next to a woman who treats him like a brother, while another man touches her as a woman. Let me tell you something most won't. If a woman stops desiring you physically and you resign yourself to it, thinking it's normal, you betray yourself. You're silently saying you'd rather stay with someone who no longer chooses you than face the emptiness and reclaim your power. That's the start of the end. Nothing is more humiliating than touching a woman who's already given herself to someone else, even if it's just in her mind. The next time she says not everything has to be physical, don't argue, explain, or question. Just look at her calmly and see with a man's clarity what it really means. Her desire is gone. You're no longer the fire in her life. If you stay, it's because you'd rather exist as a shadow than reignite your own light. After saying this, she won't move toward honesty or reconciliation. Instead, she'll throw guilt onto you to justify her distance. She needs you to be the problem, to make her feel like a victim so she can betray you without conscience. She'll use phrases as old as they are cowardly. Then comes the classic line, "You've changed too." Oh, of course. Suddenly, it's you who has changed. It doesn't matter that you're still providing, working, taking care of her emotionally, or supporting her. She needs an excuse, a way to balance the blame so she can maintain her double life without looking guilty. That way, if one day you discover another man, she can say, "You weren't the same anymore." This is one of the most destructive mind games when a woman begins to leave. She doesn't say it to fix anything. She says it to create an emotional alibi. "I didn't want to, but you pushed me away." If you're not firm, you'll fall for it. Apologize for things you didn't do and feel guilty for being stable while she was unraveling inside. You might end up thinking her emotional or physical betrayal was your fault, but it isn't. This is where masculine clarity comes in. Don't take guilt for things that aren't yours. Observe her intentions behind her words. Don't let yourself lose dignity by accepting blame for her emptiness, cowardice, or desire to explore another without consequences. Stand firm. Don't defend, beg, or explain. When she says you've changed too, reply with confidence. "Yes, I changed because I grew. I no longer tolerate what I used to. I'm not the man who stays silent while being betrayed with sweet words." That stops the manipulation and forces her to face reality. You regain your power, your center, and your ability to decide who enters or leaves your life without needing to justify it. After blaming you, she won't try to reconnect. She begins withdrawing emotionally, often using a phrase like, "I don't want to talk right now, I'm tired." She says it when you feel uneasy or disconnected. If you try to converse, she deflects without raising her voice. I'm tired. It's not physical exhaustion, it's emotional avoidance. She's tired of pretending she cares. The twisted part? She's not tired for everyone. If someone else texts or calls, she responds, smiles, engages. Her fatigue is selective, and it's a signal that she's pulling away. But often men give in silently, hoping for understanding, and start fading themselves without noticing. Every time she says, I'm tired, she's really saying, I don't want to deal with you. I don't care enough to engage. This is called progressive disengagement, a subtle way of turning you off without leaving suddenly, while you try to understand someone else fills that space. That's when you need strength, not complaints. The next time she says, I'm tired, don't respond with softness or understanding. Pause, then say, if you don't want to talk, that's fine, but don't explain later. I don't hide and walk away emotionally or physically. I leave with dignity. A man who insists where he's not wanted becomes pathetic. Respect yourself. Silence isn't always respect. Sometimes it's cowardice. If you stay silent, you become accustomed to her disengagement, while another man energizes her late into the night. Distance is confusing. Women who want to escape don't isolate. They draw you closer subtly, often framing it as a question. But it's a perfect emotional trap. I don't know what's going on with you. We've reached the 6th point of this video. And if you don't see this phrase for what it really is, you're going to get caught in a kind of illusion that eats at you from the inside. Picture it for a second. You're with her. The glances are already full of something neither of you admits. The tension is clear. And then, with a shy smile and almost childlike voice, she drops that line. I don't know what's going on with you. She says it as if she's confused, like you're the one confusing her. But she's not confused. She knows exactly what's happening. She likes you. You excite her. You throw her off. Yes. But not because it's surprising, but because it's exactly what she wants. She just can't say it openly, because saying it would admit desire. She would admit her own conflict, so she hides it as confusion. This phrase is a clever psychological move because it puts you in the role of the emotional culprit, the accidental provoker. And if you're not strong, you fall right into it. You start to believe there's something unique happening, something almost magical. But there isn't. It's a pattern repeated endlessly by women who don't face their emptiness directly and fill it with the energy of a man who still gets caught up in someone else's emotions. The visualization is simple but powerful. Imagine standing in front of her. Everything she says, everything she does is aimed at you. She talks differently to you. She looks differently at you. And when she says that phrase, you freeze. You stop thinking. You stop observing. You just feel. And in that moment, you stop being a man with direction and become a man who reacts. You no longer lead. You no longer decide. You just wait. And that's the real loss. Stopping being the one who takes charge. The man stuck in this cycle lives in constant contradiction. He wants clarity but gets pulled in by vague words. He wants respect but feels excitement when used as an emotional escape. He wants a real woman but gets caught up with someone just pretending to feel alive. And in the end, he's left alone, tired, confused, wondering if it was real or just a fantasy disguised as connection. This phrase, I don't know what's going on with you, isn't sweetness. It's subtle emotional manipulation. And if you lack clarity and strength, it turns you into the man who clings to every gesture, every word, as if it proves love. But it doesn't. They're hooks, and if you bite, you lose. Deep down, she knows what's happening. What she doesn't know is whether you're strong enough to resist or naive enough to fall for it. After weeks, maybe months of disguised distance, silence is wrapped in phrases like, I'm tired or I need space. A moment comes when she can't pretend anymore. She doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want to argue. She doesn't want to make excuses. She just slides in a phrase that sounds deep but is really a verdict. We're at the 6th point of this video, and it's when she says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. That phrase, though it sounds poetic, is emotional execution. It's the subtlest way to tell you, you don't excite me anymore, but I want to leave without being the bad one. She throws the I love you at you like a sedative, a shield. So you don't react angrily, but then she hits you with, I'm not in love with you. It's as if loving someone is intellectual and being in love gives permission to desire someone else. You, like any man who's been hurt, try to understand. You wonder how she can love you but not desire you, how she can want your well-being but not your body, how she can value you as a person but fantasize about someone else every night. But that's the trap. That phrase doesn't mean she loves you. It means she feels pity. She doesn't want to hurt you, but she doesn't want to stay either. So she keeps you around, half present, half absent, like a plant she doesn't water but won't throw away either. In my consultations, I've heard that phrase thousands of times. It always comes when she has crossed the emotional line with someone else, when her body doesn't respond to you, but her guilt stops her from being honest. Then she throws that poisonous line. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. So you don't judge her. You think there's something left, but there isn't. Just the memory of what you were and her need to justify herself while she already has someone else in mind. This is when men lose themselves trying to reignite the falling in love. They cook for her, surprise her, do things they didn't before. But it's too late. It's not effort, it's connection. If she's already connected to someone else, you could give her everything and she'd still see you as furniture. Stoic philosophy is clear. Don't insist where you're not wanted. Insisting isn't love. It's humiliation. And a man who humiliates himself to keep a woman who doesn't want him loses more than a partner. He loses self-respect. He loses essence. He loses strength. So when she says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, don't respond with tenderness. Don't say, let's try again. Look calmly and then don't love me. A real man doesn't compete with ghosts. He leaves before losing himself in a story that no longer includes him. She doesn't love you. She remembers you. And remembering doesn't build anything. If she's not in love, she's gone. If you can't accept that, you're gone too. Only a shadow remains, waiting while she's already living without you. If you've made it this far, there's no turning back. You know now. You've heard the phrases a woman says when she no longer desires you, when she no longer chooses you, even if she still sleeps in your bed. If you ignore it, you're not naive. You're complicit. Not all women who say I love you are loving you. Not all who ask for time are confused. Many have crossed the line, needing you to stay asleep so they can leave guilt-free. If you don't wake up now, if you don't assert yourself, you'll end up looking back, wondering when you lost respect and dignity. Today I showed 7 phrases that aren't said by accident. Phrases that reveal more than they admit. Phrases a woman throws when she's no longer passionate but wants you as a backup. Recognize them. If any were said to you, there's no excuse to beg for love, no reason to knock on a door that opens only for others. This isn't about hating women. It's about understanding them as they are, not as you wish. Only a man who understands the female mind stops being a victim and owns his story. I'm Celia, and this is your house of wisdom. We don't cry over loss. We reclaim what's left, your power, your strength, your clarity. If this shook you, comment 1 phrase. I'm not fooling myself anymore. And tell your country, language or culture doesn't matter. When a man wakes, everything changes. Subscribe. Share with that friend still chasing a woman who doesn't respect him. Don't leave yet. Watch the videos appearing on screen. Pick the one that makes you uncomfortable because that's exactly what you need to see.